Hello, everyone. My name is Chris Wickman. I am on the board of the directors for the Ingham County Bar Association. I am one of the board of directors. The ICBA is a voluntary organization of lawyers, legal secretaries, paralegals, and other individuals and our judges in our community. We provide educational, informational, and social activities to our members. Today we are providing an informational activity. I am here with the judicial candidate, Colline Cheltenham. I will turn this over to shortly. The ICBA does not take any position on any particular candidate. We provide this information just so that individuals will get to know the candidates and make an informed choice when they go to vote. If you have questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask them after Colline is done with her introduction and talking about why she believes she should be judge and fill the seats being vacated by Judge Lawless's retirement. Or you can private message me in chat or message in chat, and I will go ahead and read them for that. So without further ado, I will go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Colline Cheltenham for her portion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. So the reason that I believe that I'm the best candidate for this seat, and as we know, this is a family court. This is Judge Lawless's seat. This is a non-incumbent race, and it's a regular term. The reason I'm the best candidate for this seat is because as a future family court judge, I have the blend of both personal and professional experiences to do this job. All of the candidates running are qualified in one way or another for this seat. But because of my experiences, I'm the lawyer who will approach each case with the passion and compassion necessary for the best possible outcome for the families that would come before me. I have the character and the history to fully understand each individual in the courtroom. I understand what the parties are going through because I've been a party. I understand what the lawyers are going through because I am a practicing family law attorney. And because of those experiences and my personal experience and training, I know what the families need to get through this traumatic process. It's this intersection between qualification and personal experience that sets me apart from the other candidates. You know when you see the person who should have the job that you're interviewing for. And we know that because we can sense the fire in their belly or the energy when they talk about their role and the issues that relate to it. We can also tell by the experiences that they lay out before you. And every candidate, as I already said, is experiencing something that can relate to this judicial seat. But no other candidate has the training specific to family law and the real world experience that I do as a practicing family law attorney. By way of background, I come from a divided and abusive family. I have personally suffered abuse, and I ended up in the foster care system where I was completely separated from my 4 siblings and my parents. This unfortunate experience created a passion and a drive that has brought me to where I am today. I started out on the bottom floor, or as some people might say, in the mailroom. I began my legal career as a legal secretary. At that time, I was divorced, mother of 1, and struggling after the divorce to start my career and care for my child, but I was determined. I pursued my associate's degree in applied science and legal assisting. And after I completed my associate degree, I worked full-time as a paralegal and legal assistant, pursuing my bachelor's in business administration from Northwood University. I was also a full-time single mother. I worked as a paralegal for approximately 7 years and finished my bachelor degree in 3. And during that time, I worked for Jaffe Raitt, Hewer & Weiss in Southfield, and later at Dow Corning Corporation. And this is where my desire to pursue becoming a lawyer really became cemented. So before I became an attorney, I was learning to be a good lawyer from the people that I worked for, like Harry Eisenberg from Jaffe Raitt and Paul Marcella, who's a corporate secretary at Dow Corning Corporation. These men showed me what it meant to be an aggressive advocate and a counselor to my clients. Toward the end of my undergrad, I had gotten remarried, and I had a second child a few years later. I was still working full-time. I was a wife, caring for my children. In 2008, I found my way into Cooley Law School. I won't bore you with those details of law school, but they were not necessarily unique in and of itself, but my personal experiences made that challenging for sure, as in my second year in law school, I was again going through another divorce, and I was a single mother. Because of those 2 divorces and my childhood, I tried very hard to not practice in family law. But as a wise attorney once told me, sometimes your area of law picks you, you don't pick it. And somehow these family law clients kept finding me and pursuing me. And maybe it wasn't so much my life, but maybe it was my subconscious that pushed me in this direction. As you can guess, family law is not something that is a passing interest for me. I don't come from the world of prosecution. I don't come from probate court. I have no desire to be an administrative law judge. Not that those are bad career choices, but I have never been anything since I've been licensed but a family law attorney. I am a family lawyer because that is where my life has driven me, and I want to bring that passion that I have for this area of law to the bench in this county. I've been practicing family law steadily for the last 5.5+ years. I've advocated for fathers who felt they were not treated fairly by the system and wanted more parenting time with their children. I've advocated for abused women who couldn't stand up to their abuser on their own in either divorce or custody battles. I've advocated for parents who are accused of child abuse. I've advocated on behalf of a child when sexual abuse was involved by another parent. I have specific training, education, and experience in family law, and as we know, that's exactly what this courtroom handles. As I said earlier, the perfect candidate for the seat is not one who has just a personal history, but also a professional history in family law. As lawyers, we're steeped in tradition, whether it's tradition of a law firm, a practice area, or it becomes a specialty. We're guided by history of case law and precedent. And I'm not going to ask you in this forum for your vote, obviously, but I do want your vote. I'm going to stop arguing about why I'm the best candidate, but what I will say is that if you make your decision in a way that lawyers are taught, and you look at my history, both personal and professional, then I believe that choice is clear. I do have, of course, a resume that I could send you. I didn't want to bore you with those details. I'm happy to answer questions that you might have about my work history and my professional membership history, and I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have at this time.
Thank you very much. So now we are open to questions. Remember, if you have questions for the candidate, you can either unmute yourself or put them in chat or private message me in chat. And either of those latter two options, I will go ahead and ask them. Does anyone have any questions at this time? All right, I'm going to go ahead and ask then, do you have, if elected to the circuit court bench, do you have any plans for the term with regards to any special programs or anything like that?
I think the thing that I want to bring to the bench immediately is this sort of holistic approach to handling family law cases, and in directing parents, in dealing with custody and parenting time and issues like that. Directing parents into either some sort of therapeutic or reaching out for services outside of the courthouse that can really rehabilitate the family and encourage the family unit to function much better. As we know, we're inundated with custody cases, and my practice is extraordinarily busy with custody matters. And I think if we can reduce that litigation, that helps not just the community at large, it helps the court system as well, and it helps the family so they can function in a divided family that they're in.
All right, thank you. Other questions from the attendees at this point? I will ask one final question, and then if we don't have any further questions, I'll turn it back over to you for any final statements. Is how do you think that the position that you're up for election for would be different than your current position?
You know, let me make sure I understand the question. So the question is, how do I see this role as a judge being different from my practice as a family law attorney? Is that the question?
That is correct. That is correct.
So the role is different in the sense that instead of coming from the position of advocating for my client, which is our job as lawyers, right? So now it's coming from the position of I'm making decisions on behalf of families and for families. And I think that shifts the paradigm for me in the sense that I'm really advocating for the family and the child, as opposed to my paying client. So I think that's the rule that I see that's different. And it's a service. It's a service to the community itself. It's it's not just I'm a paid position, obviously. I mean, you're performing something for the community at large, and I think we need to address this type of job in that fashion and take the holistic approach that I was talking about before. And so we can try to reduce the litigation that comes through the courtroom on these family law matters. And I understand that it's not just custody issues. I mean, these are issues that relate to termination of parental rights as well. And those issues are obviously vital, but rehabilitation can come through in those cases also. And maybe you can't completely reunify the family. And I kind of got off track there, but I want to make sure I touch base on this. So maybe you can't reunify the family, but you can allow for rehabilitative services that are already provided through the court system and even outside of the court system for these families when you're talking about termination of parental rights, so that parents can continue to have contact with their child and maybe rehabilitate in a way where they can reestablish their parental rights with their children.
Thank you. Are there any questions from any of the attendees at this time? Remember, you can either unmute yourself and ask them in that way, or you can message them in chat or private message me and I can ask them. I am not seeing any at this time. Colleen, I'll turn it over to you for any final thoughts or comments.
I just appreciate the time that everyone's taken to come and listen to me and allow me to give my presentation. And, I hope the best for everyone running in the race, but I do believe that I am the best candidate for this seat. And I think that stems from my background and my personal experiences in life that really sets me apart from everyone. And I hope that's taken into consideration.
Thank you very much. I'm not seeing any further questions, so I will go ahead and stop the recording at this time. If people would like to just kind of stick around, they're welcome to do so and just kind of engage off the record, just more casually with the candidate and each other. So I'll go ahead and stop the recording now. Thanks for